the ideas that were presented to me when we first initially talked about this was that Candyman's character is dumb because he kills black people, right? And
I'm
then
saying he's dumb.
and then
I didn't
also
say dumb. I say he's a problematic character. Yes.
okay. Let's dive more deep into that because you were saying he's a problematic character, and you were saying the white woman thing. What else makes him a problematic character?
No, it was the fact that he kills his own people. Like he was
But
killed.
does he though? Because in part 2 he kills nothing but white people, and in part 3 he kills all white people and one Hispanic guy, and then he kills the dude that he pulled out the damn window was white in part 1.
Yeah, but listen, he kills white people. But I'm saying for a individual who was killed by wealthy white people, he was terrorizing. He cut the little boy's fucking penis off in the bathroom in part 1. That
was another thing I was wondering about. They never explicitly say it, but was that really him, or was that the dude posing to be Candyman? Because I low-key got the impression that it was that guy. The dude posing to be Candyman.
I'm pretty sure it was Candyman.
Because I know that for sure he killed the person that was upstairs. The one that was upstairs, like the one they were talking about, somebody got killed upstairs. That one, I believe it was him. Because they said something about a baby or some shit. That one, I believe it was him. The bathroom thing, I thought the bathroom thing was basically, that bathroom was kind of like a no-go zone, and that fake Candyman was lingering in that bathroom. I was under the impression that he was the one that did that shit. But I probably have to look back into it, but I think, but again, this is when we go into this idea of proximity, because once Candyman gets out of the Cabrini Green projects through Helen's word of mouth, that is when characters that are non-black start to die. You have the freaking psych dude, he dies, and there's a couple other characters that freaking die that aren't black, and that shows because he's isolated to being in this one area, and is where all the characters or all the people in there are going to be black. So obviously, of course, all the people that are going to die, they're going to be black as well too. But once that urban legend creeps out of this only black area and it starts dropping in other areas, that's when he starts to surface and become more. He finds more. What's the thing? His predator. He ends up becoming. He finds more prey as a predator in a way, right? But because, like I said, in part 2 and 3, no black people died in the making of that movie. They should have a tag on that says it. No black people died in the making of this movie.
Movies don't follow the timeline of the Candyman, whatever. Because if you're following the Candyman, or it's the first one and not Jordan Peele, but you know what I mean. Yeah. Those are the two that follow the Candyman timeline.
Yeah, 1, 2, 3 are the ones that are like congruent with the Candyman timeline. Yeah.
So, but this Candyman story is based off of the project. So I get it. Yes, this is where he is located. This is where the plantation was. This is where the plantation, wherever he died. This is where he's locked in, right? This is where he's locked in.
Yeah, think Poltergeist.
Yes. I'm just saying that it's pretty fucked up that you have a black horror movie. You have a black character who dies in the hands of white men due to racism. And he spends, yes, he's trying to manifest, or maybe he's trying to manifest and get out to other community, but he is starting off in a black community, because if you look at even before all these killings were taking place even before the movie started in this project. This is, which they don't show. He's been terrorizing this project for decades. If you go by the Candyman lore from the first movie, it's just insane to me that a black man who has been wronged by another race, murdered, killed, so forth, is now coming back and he is terrorizing people who look like him. Think about this.
But he's not terrorizing only people that look like him. It just, again.
But the people who look like him are at the projects.
Well, yeah, but then he kills people that don't look like him. He yanks the dude out of the damn window when he's talking to Helen. Eventually, he's responsible for Helen dying. He kills.
I understand a character, once again, a character who was killed at the hand of white men.
So you think he should have been like a vengeful spirit? Like he should have just like kind of like
What?
black knighted, and then like killed only white people?
He should do. I mean, if you look in horror movie genre, look at Nightmare on Elm Street. Who is he killing? He's killing. He's taking revenge on the people who he wronged him. Their children, their
He
grandchildren.
wasn't even wrong though. He was a child murderer. That
No,
was
I'm just saying. But those were the people who. But those were people who killed him, right?
Yeah.
He's taking revenge on the people who killed him.
Yeah.
Down the road.
But the thing is, don't you think the fact that this is all tied down to an urban legend and basically anybody could get it is a more interesting idea than I'm just gonna go try to find it, wipe out this bloodline? I think that the idea of the urban legend that Candyman can go after anyone at any time simply by the legend. There's no like reason why he can or can't kill you. It's just you said my name, here I am, you're dead now. I think that's a more terrifying concept than, oh yeah, is your name Bartholomew Wallace? Well, your great grandfather put me on the pyre. I think that would be flag.
But who's saying his name though? Like people in the project.
That's because the urban legend lives within.
The only people who know who he is.
Have you seen? Wait. Have you seen Evil Dead Rises? Right? You seen Evil Dead Rise, right?
Yeah.
What did they talk about? Oh yeah, there's an urban legend that somebody died in the building underneath us, right? And that's exactly how this stuff happens. Something happens in that building, and then there's some talk about it, and then that's how people find out. It happened in so many freaking horror movies. It's actually a very cliche thing, but something happened in that building. They said, hey, you know what I heard happened on this property? Some guy named Candyman was here. He died. I heard if you say his name 5 times in the mirror, he gonna come and kill you. Oh, for real? Let me see. He did it. Somebody died. Boom. That's how the legend started, and that's how it kept going on. I think the idea that he don't discriminate is honestly more terrifying than if he was simply just going after people because of bloodline.
So let's go back to full circle back to the. What I was saying about, Jesus, I just got a brain for it. What I was saying about the black people in his projects, they see him as a idol, an icon, almost, and he is terrorizing them. No one else does. No one else sees them, and that is a weird concept. You said it yourself that in the black culture, gangsters, drug dealers, killers, and so forth are idolized.
Yeah.
And it goes back to me. Like, you've seen the movie King Kong, right?
Yeah.
Original. Now, you know the story about King Kong back in the day. King Kong was based off. King Kong was a black man.
Yeah.
Right? So, and the story is, so King Kong was a king on Skull Island, right? So there's a whole bunch of little brown people around. And what does he do? He eats them and he stomps on them. Fuck y'all, motherfuckers, right? And then so you bring him to the United States. And by the way, these people worshipped him. Even though he ate them, even though he stomped on them, these brown people worshipped him. Even though he stomped on them, even though he ate them, they worshipped him as a god. Then they bring him to the United States. And he sees a fucking blonde-haired fucking white woman, and now the concept changed. I'm ready to risk my life for this. And that is, to me, I'm saying that is the whole Candyman. Candyman and King Kong go. Once again, Candyman doesn't see. Candyman views black people in this movie as equals, as like you just said, as equals as rights, as whites in the movie. Fuck black people. I don't mind killing y'all too.
Yeah.
I'm not on your team. But even though he's doing that, black people still see him as an icon. Got murals pointing.
But now I'm thinking about it too. There's 2 ways to view it. And I mean, this is all up to the viewer. One, idolization, right? The painting, the murals, things like that. But then also the fact that I said, and I mentioned it, the treats, the candies that were left. And it clicked in my head. I remember because I read the Candyman book, the chapter or whatever in the Book of Blood or whatever. And it made me think about it. is it really idolizing or is it just to appease him so that he won't kill somebody else? You know, it's like you're basically appeasing him in order for the beast not to kill again, right? You've seen this, and we've seen this in plenty of different stories. You know, they'll do something to try to appeal to the monster in order so that the monster won't hurt anybody else. You know, and is this really worshiping or is this them trying to appease them? Because in the story, they would do that. They would leave the candies and the bloody razors and things like that. They would leave it in a dish in order to appease the character so that he won't hurt anybody else. And I'm thinking like, well, maybe this is the same thing here. Maybe they're doing that stuff and thinking that, okay, well, maybe if we make him happy, you know, he won't hurt us. And I mean, that idea itself is biblical, and it's in almost all different cultures throughout the world. The Mayans did it all the time. They used to kill people, whip the heart out and shit like that, still beating in the head, right, to appease to a god so that they wouldn't be killed. You know, and it's a concept that's been used over and over again. So is this worshiping, or is it simply just like, hey, look, here's a little offering, just don't cut my dick off? You know what I'm saying? Like, just don't do it.
I'm just saying right now, if a certain group of people killed me, right?
Yeah.
If I'm coming back to kill, I'm killing that group of people.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It doesn't
that's
make
unpredictable though. Like, would that have made, honestly, and be honest, like if you really feel like that'll make a better story, be honest. But I really think that what we got will make a better story than what the other side of the card is. That's just me though, because that sounds like an early 2000s movie. Like, it just reminds me of those early 2000s horror plot points where they just give you that basic setup and like, oh, you killed my Meemaw, and then you just go about it like that, like, you know. So I don't know. I like what we got more. Which one would be more appealing to you? Would you have preferred?
I mean, here's the thing. I love the Candyman movie. I love it. Right?
Yeah.
I rank it there. At the same time, I can say that it's a problematic movie. It is a problematic character. I love Candyman's character, but I can say that Candyman is a problematic character. I mean, the whole story, if you look at it, and I'm not saying the story is not true. If you look in Black culture, the story is true. Yeah. You know, it's a lot of the stuff that's happening in this movie is something that it's literally based on a fucking real story about a Black serial killer that was killing Black people in a apartment complex in Chicago. It's literally based on a real story. This really happened.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So it just, for me, it's just a problematic character. It's like, shit. Like,
you mentioned the risk it all for the white woman, right? And how that's problematic. I wanted to pose this question because it's pretty good in my opinion. How does that hold up really when like that's only like a small percentage? Like, that's basically like the setup of the movie, and then we don't really get none of that throughout the rest of the movie. If you get what I'm saying, like her being okay, yeah, he risked it all, painted the white woman, he risked it all, got killed at the beginning of the movie, boom, done, right? But like, how does that play a part into the rest of the movie? That's literally like, I want to say like 3 minutes where that professor dude is explaining the story of Candyman. That's only like 3 minutes out of the whole movie. So how does that present him as a problematic character throughout the rest of the story?
So, I mean, it starts off as a problematic character because so during that time in this country, he was a free slave, which most Black people were not free slaves, and he was a wealthy free slave. You know, he was getting contracts to do artwork from wealthy white people. So, I mean, he was doing well financially. So it's just problematic that he would pick during that time. He could have, you know, freed a Black woman who was a slave. He could have done many of options to elevate someone in a Black individual. He decided to let me fall in love with this white woman, even though this is going to probably lead to my downfall. Once again, I'm willing to risk it all, and I am willing to come back as Candyman. And my sole purpose is coming back is to, like you said, spread my name, but also look for this specific white woman who kind of looks like her. I found this white woman kind of looks like her.
She did.
What was that?
No, I was like, yeah, she did look like her.
Yeah. and it's a problematic issue. Like I want to bring her into my hive, and it's just it's like whoa, it's just yikes.
Yeah. But her homegirl was her homegirl that was working with her. She was black, right? I believe.
I think so. I'm gonna say
All right.
yes.
So let's say, but here's the thing, though. I think that this story would have went anyway, regardless of who was like the lead female, right? Because although yes, Helen did kind of like resemble the woman that was like with Candyman or whatever, and you see him like kind of like enticing her throughout the movie, but he's not enticing her because he legitimately was like, "Yeah, you need to be my spirit bride." You know what I'm saying? Nah, it was more along the lines of like I said, the idea was, I'm going to reel you in because you're already obsessing over my urban legend. That's why he didn't kill her when she said his name 5 times, because he said,
I
"Okay,
think
huh?
I also think he had an obsession with her. I think
Yeah,
the obsession went both ways, and the reason why he was obsessed with her because she looked like the wife or the girlfriend. I don't know what the hell the woman was. You
his
know that
baby
he
mama,
worked with. Yeah, whatever she was. Yeah,
baby mama, because she ended
yeah,
up having a
yeah. I mean that was the obsession. Yes, she was obsessing over him, but he was also obsessing over her. Number one, she had his interest in him, but also she resembled the love of his life.
But I think it's funny because I still think it's deeper than that. Yeah, there was the fact that they resembled each other, and I do feel like that played a factor. But I really think it was more so for the opportunity. Because think about it. At the end, what happened? He really thought, all right, if we all burn together in this pyre, it's gonna be the same story that happened last time. But this time, like, you two are a part of my legend now, you know, and this legend is going to spread. Oh, a woman and a baby was burned on a pyre in the Cabrini Green projects, resembling a famous urban legend that's also in the area of a Candyman, of a man who was also burned in a pyre. And this is the urban legend. And then all of a sudden, this is going to be news all over the country. Now all of a sudden, you're going to hear more people trying to do this urban legend, researching it, looking into it. They say it. Although, yeah, it looked like he had an attraction to her, he was looking at her for a bigger picture. Like, she's here. This is my opportunity to spread this message. You know, this lady that was obsessing over the urban legend of Candyman went crazy and did this, and this. That's also associated with the urban legend. You get what I'm saying? So I think it was bigger than that. Yeah, sure, there's small little like elements of it, but I think the bigger picture is he was just using her in order to kind of like further his purpose. What
Okay,
do you?
agree to disagree.
You said what?
Let's agree to disagree, but yes.
What do you guys think? Do you guys think I'm right? You agree with what I said? Because both of us made some very valid points, and I'm not even gonna lie. Like we agreed on some things, we disagreed on some things, but at the end of the day, we had it fun and we kept it simple. So, what do you guys think? Do you think that the urban legend of Candyman is nothing more than a woke message that just has has this
No,
bad
I
message that
think that the remake is a woke message. The
we'll get there?
remake, the
We'll get
remake.
there too. But do you
Yeah,
guys think that Candyman is nothing more than a stereotypical character that's devastating to the black community? Or do you think it's
problematic.
problematic? All of that. Or do you agree with me and just think that, you know what, it's just a good story and it tells the plot, and these characters are there for a reason and they play their part and they play their purpose, and there's no real like secret message in it. It's just trying to tell a good story. But anyway, make sure you check out my man Travis's channel. I'll link it in the description. Make sure you guys go and subscribe to his channel, and don't forget to spam him and say that. And then I want you guys to put problematic in all of his comments. Put problematic, problematic, problematic. Now we're gonna start a movement called We Problematic. But anyway, make sure you guys like and share and subscribe to this channel, man. And you are now exiting the Cinema Chop Shop. Hope you guys have a magnificent day, and adios, homies.